All right, what's going on, guys? Happy Friday. We've got a 13-game NBA slate. We're going to cover every game, and I'm going to give you my 7 favorite best bets. But before we get into that, as always, subscribe to the channel, guys. We're pushing 600 subs. Throw a comment if you can down below. Just put a number or a letter. Anything is correct. Helps the channel with the algorithm, all that good stuff. Talk a little bit about yesterday. We went 3-3. Not a great day. Edwards ended up getting 6 assists. We had him under 5, so that kind of sucked. Vucevic, the ball went everywhere except near his hands, so a little unlucky there. Jeremy Grant, we needed 6 rebounds and assists. I believe he finished at 4, maybe 5. But we did hit DeAndre Ayton under 11.5 rebounds. That was sweat-free at 10. Gobert under 2.5 steals and blocks. He had 1, so that was easy. And Victor Wembanyama under 40.5 PRAs. I believe he finished around like 22, so that was extremely sweat-free. But let's get into the card, talk about each game, and I'll give you my leans for each game. So we'll start with the Pelicans and the Magic. Obviously, still no Banchero. We've got Zion as a game-time decision. Trey Murphy might be back in the lineup today, so that could aid them. Really an ugly game. It's kind of crazy to see Orlando minus 5.5 favorites. My lean on this would just be the over 213.5, especially just given if Zion doesn't play. I like the over 213.5, and even if he does, I still like it. Pacers and the Hornets should be a pretty high-paced game. I think we see that reflected in the over-under. It's just 2 streaky shooting teams, right? So I don't want to touch the over-under. I would lean Indy minus 7, but probably a game where I'm going to end up taking the Pacers in some type of alt line. They do have some potential to have some guys out. So Nesmith's out. TJ McConnell's a game-time decision. Nembhard's a game-time decision. On the other side of the ball, Brandon Miller's a game-time decision. Williams is a game-time decision. Bridges is out. Their center, Nick Richards, is out. So everything kind of points towards the Pacers in this spot. But we know that the Hornets, they're just streaky-ass shooters, specifically LaMelo. But that would be my lean in that game. Hawks and the Pistons should be a fair... I mean, the Pistons a lot better than last year. You got to give them that at least. But for the Pistons, you got Jalen Duran as a game-time decision. That has massive impacts. Isaiah Stewart is the backup center. He's good, but he's not Jalen Duran. So... very, very heavy lean towards the Hawks if he ends up sitting, in my opinion. On the other side of the ball for Atlanta, they've got their own injuries to deal with. You've got DeAndre Hunter, who's going to be out. You got Bufkin out. You got Bogdanovich is out. So they have a ton of people out. Seth Landy out. Zeller out. They got some issues on that side of the ball on their side as well. I would say my lean for this game would be the Hawks on the money line at plus money. So I like them in this spot. All right, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns and the Mavericks. I would say that, game of the night right here. This should be a pretty darn good game. On the injury side, let's see, what do we got for this game? Beal's a game-time decision. That's about it on the Phoenix side. Derek Lively is out. That's a big hit for Dallas. So Gafford's going to see some increased minutes. Can maybe look at some of his props, but I just don't really trust him. I don't have any plays in this game. Najee Marshall, I looked at his points. It's fairly low on that line. So that was kind of a soft lean there. But should be a good game. My issue with Phoenix is always the same. I don't trust them in the second half. That said, they're 7-1. I wouldn't say that the Mavericks are blowing me away this season. The over is 230.5. I would say I would go Dallas money line. I'm not comfortable saying anything beyond money line with them. Luka's PRA line, I want to say, is 49.5, 50.5. I would probably lean more towards the under on his PRA line. That one almost made the card, but didn't quite get there. All right, next game, Nets and the Celtics. Wow, Celtics coming off a loss against Golden State. So they're going to be at home playing Brooklyn. It's a really good spot for Boston. Obviously, we see that with the minus 13.5. So blowout potential very, very high. I would lean towards the over 224.5 as my best bet in that game, although we do have a play in this game. On the injury side of the ball, Bogdanovich is out for Brooklyn. That's really about it. You've got Cornette is a game time decision. Jaylen Brown is out. obviously has an impact, but I still think Boston wins this one easily. 13.5 though, that's a lot of points. So I'm gonna fade that one. Like I said, if anything, I would take the over 224.5. Golden State and the Cavs. Can the Cavs go 10-0? What an insane team. But that said, Golden State 7-1, having a fantastic season. They played extremely well with Steph Curry out, which kind of blew me away a little bit. Draymond Green is a game-time decision. Melton is a game-time decision, as is Podziemski. So they have 3 game-time decisions on the Golden State side. Cleveland, fairly healthy. Strauss is still out. Dean Wade is a game-time decision. But other than that, they should be rolling. I'm not going to fade Cleveland. 9-0. I mean, I guess until they lose, let's roll with it. So Cleveland minus 4.5. I like that play. So that's what we're going with in that game. All right, Bucks and the Knicks. This one should be an interesting game as well. I didn't have any plays in this. Over 224.5 was my initial lean. I like that a lot. 7.5 for the Knicks at home against this Bucks team's not unreasonable, but it's just a game where we could definitely see an upset. So I wouldn't touch a money line play either way on this one. If anything, I would lean more towards the Bucks. Yeah, I think it's a very competitive game, and Knicks probably pull away at the very end. So I could see this being like a 3-4 point win for the Knicks. So Milwaukee plus 7.5 for me, or the over 224.5. All right, Rockets regular against OKC. No injuries on the Houston side of the ball other than Steven Adams, who's game time decision. OKC, Hartenstein still out with that broken hand. Jalen Williams is out still, so pretty much same team we've seen all year. I don't see them losing to the Rockets. I mean, the Rockets have they've been a little up and down. OKC has just been rolling. So OKC minus 8.5 for me in this game. Next game, Wizards and the Grizzlies. Grizzlies should 5.5 going up against the Wizards at home. Real light. Memphis minus 5.5. Very, very, very strong lean in that game for sure. All right, we got Heat and the Nuggets. Nuggets are starting to come into form just a little bit more. I mean, I like the way they're starting to look. Murray's a game time decision tonight. So if he can't go, though, I mean, they've been very good with Russell Westbrook at the helm there. So I like the way they look there. Miami side of the ball, Jaquez is a game time decision. Kevin Love's still out. This is a Nugget spot. We're getting Nuggets minus 3.5. I love it. So Denver minus 3.5 all day. I will tell you the over-under for Djokovic is pretty high. Did I say Djokovic? I'm thinking tennis. Jokic, whatever. The Joker. His PRA line is like 50.5, but he is favored to go over. So I looked at his lines. Rebounds like 13.5. Assists are like 9.5. Points are 27.5, if I remember right. I just don't want to touch it, but I like the Nuggets to get the job done today. So Denver minus 3.5. All right, Portland and the T-Wolves. This one, T-Wolves, I like them, but they've been a little sporadic. And this Trailblazers team kind of hangs with everybody, but we do see these double-digit numbers with them a lot. No injuries on the Minnesota side of the ball, which is great. Everybody's healthy. Pretty much the same for Portland. So I don't even want to touch it because the number's too high. I would say in the over-under is like perfectly placed. I mean, Portland has great defense, so I would lean maybe towards the under 221.5. But I think a lot of people were on that over-under last night with the T-Wolves and the Bulls, and they absolutely crushed that. So I've got one play in this game. Other than that, it's pretty much a fade for me, and we're going to talk about DeAndre Ayton in that game. But this is a fade spot, in my opinion. Obviously, Minnesota coming off a game yesterday, so playing a back-to-back. That said, the back-to-back teams have been blowing people out the next day, so I wouldn't read a whole lot into that one. All right, Phillies and the Lakers. Lakers minus 8.5, but this is the Lakers at home. A lot different than the Lakers on the road. For the Phillies, God damn it, I keep mixing up sports. 76ers, we do have Paul George back. Embiid still suspended, I believe. Yeah, so he's out, and then Maxey got hurt. So that's why we're seeing this line. I think Maxey's going to be out about 4 weeks. I believe I remember reading that. So Lakers spot minus 8.5, no Maxey. I mean, you do have Paul George. You got Oubre. There's just not enough here for me. Lakers minus 8.5. All right, Clippers, Kings, injury side of the ball. Kings are very, very healthy. Clippers side, still no Kawhi Leonard. Tucker's out. Mo Bamba's out. So we're seeing Clippers 5 plus 5.5. I think it's a somewhat competitive game, but the Kings have been doing this thing where they're either down at halftime or they're just barely leading. It's like they kind of cruise through the first half, and then as soon as the fourth quarter starts, they turn it on. So I would say 5.5 is just a perfect line here. I would say something like, well, I'll post some parlays later today. We'll say same thing, 2 p.m. By 2 p.m., if there's any parlays I like, I'll post them in the pinned comments. But Kings minus 5.5 would be a very soft lean at the moment. All right, let's get into our best bets. Talk a little bit about that, walk you guys through it, get you out of here. So our first best bet of the day is going to be Goga Bitadze over 7.5 rebounds for the Magic. It's at plus money. He's had 9 and 12 rebounds his last 2 games, and I like his spots here. So I believe he should go over this fairly easy. Next one's Paul George over 4.5 rebounds. Like I said, no Maxey, no Embiid. He's hit this line in both games since he's returned. He did 5 the first game, 7 the next game. His minutes are increasing. So I like this spot for him. Jason Tatum under 14.5 rebounds and assists at plus money. I love the spot. He is under in 7 of 9 games this season. We see this 13.5 line. There is blowout potential. That said, we know Tatum just plays. Even when blowouts, he will play a decent amount of minutes. So this is just one where he's got to show me, right? Under in 7 of 9. So I like the spot here. DeAndre Ayton over 9.5 rebounds. We were on his under 11.5 last night. We're on his over 9.5 today. He's over this in 8 of 9 games this season. The reason why we're seeing this so low is because OKC is second in fewest rebounds allowed to the center position. But that said, he's hit this in 8 of 9. So I like the spot here. And the Trailblazers, just one of those teams that just keep hanging around. Steph Curry under 4.5 rebounds. Cleveland, 7th best in terms of rebounds allowed to the point guard position. A good spot here. I did also look at his under rebounds and assist line. So maybe if you're not comfortable with that, you can take the under in rebounds and assist. James Harden under 32.5 points plus assists. He's under in the last 3 games, under in the last 4 of 5. I think they'll do a good job of stymieing him tonight in terms of allowing him to score. I think he'll get his assist. His line's at 9.5, and he is favored to go over that, but I like him to kind of hem him up on the point side. And then last play here is Jordan Poole under 6.5 assists. This is 5.5 on a lot of books, but it's 6.5 on DraftKings. He's got a 50% hit rate in his last 10. Memphis does a pretty good job at minimizing assists to the shooting guard position. I mean, they're not phenomenal, but they're under this line. So they're averaging about 5.2 assists per game to the shooting guard position. So those are my 7 favorite plays. Those are my leans and likes for the slate today. Like I said, give the video a thumbs up, comment with anything you want down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.